Hello, this is wmpyr. I just watched a video of this Chinese martial arts instructor talking about the state of Chinese martial arts, of Kung Fu right now as it is. And in the video, pretty much I felt like he really loves Kung Fu. And because of it, he's not happy with the current state of Kung Fu. So he was ranting. He was ranting a lot. And I thought it was very unfortunate because this was a guy that I thought that he made some really, really good points and he was very logical. But, there's something that my dad taught me is the person that loses their cool loses. So no matter how right you are, don't lose your cool. And I think that's a really, really good thing that my dad taught me. And it's something that I try to, continue on this day. And when I read like books like The Art of War, I pretty much feel like that's one of the main messages in there. So I really believe it's an excellent thing to have in your code of honor. And so, like I said, this guy had some really excellent, great points. He was very logical, but he was losing his cool. He was cussing, and I could tell he was pretty upset. So that's kind of unfortunate. Anyway, what he was talking about was the current state of Chinese martial arts. He felt that like within maybe like 5 years, that the Chinese martial arts would pretty much disappear. That's what he felt like. He was warning us and saying that the way things are going right now with Chinese martial arts, it's so bad that like in 5 years, expect it to be just gone. That no one's going to do it anymore. And he said the reason is because it's not effective. It's not practical. Even if it's like you want to exercise, then just go exercise. Don't do this crap. That's what he was saying. He was saying that this is not going to work in the street. It's not going to work, period. He said one of the biggest problems is that the Chinese martial arts instructors in China is that they've taken a position that we're teaching something traditional. We're teaching something that's cultural and traditional. So the people, the country should protect us. They should preserve us. So they have this kind of attitude. And he said, that's wrong. That's a bad attitude. And we deserve to be wiped out, kind of, if you keep that attitude. That was what he was saying. The other thing he was saying is that a lot of foreigners come into China to learn Kung Fu. They learn it like in 2 years and then they leave and then they become masters in their own countries. And he says the quality just isn't there if you do that. And the other thing he was saying is that it's not effective basically because the bunkai, the breakdown of the moves from the forms, you do all these crazy forms and the people do not understand the real purpose, how to decode the forms. And he was saying that because of that, even if you learn Kung Fu, if you don't know how to properly extract the moves from the form, then it's useless. That's what he was saying. So all of those, I think, are excellent points. One thing is this guy, he said that he has been training Kung Fu for like about 25 years. And I've been doing martial arts for about 25 years. So this guy and I think we're similar in age. We're close in age. And he admitted in the video that he said that 10 years ago, he was amongst the people that was doing the forms and explaining it incorrectly too, that he was part of that. And, it took him 10 years to figure out the proper way to, to do the bunkai, which is to extract how to use the moves correctly and what kind of moves and how to read the kata correctly, the forms in Kung Fu, So that took him 10 years, right? And, that tells me that because he was amongst the people. Now, there are liars. There's plenty of liars out there giving false information. Yes. But he was part of that. He admitted 10 years ago. It took him 10 years to figure it out, right? The figuring out process to me is part of your path in martial arts. Let's think about that. If someone hands you the meaning, so let's say the Heaven Six in Filipino martial arts. So I have a student, and the student says, how do you do the Heaven Six realistically, practical for street? And I explain it to him, right? So I give it to the student versus a student that figures it out for themselves. Who do you think is going to be more effective? Who do you think is going to be, more practical and the better, better for application? Obviously, the student that figured it out for himself. Okay, to me, there's no comparison. The person who gets handed to them or the person that figured it out. The person that figured it out is the much better martial artist. So figuring out is part of the process. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It doesn't mean that the original art where what they learned was wrong or it was ineffective, so they had to figure it out. No, that's not what it is. The person figuring out is part of the process. So look, another example I could give you guys is, let's take a look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Rickson Gracie is your teacher, let's say. You go to Rickson school, he's your teacher. He's one of the best on the planet, or maybe even historically, one of the best ever, okay? Does that mean you're going to be awesome? No, not at all. He's awesome because of what he did for himself, all right? All the experiences, development, all the figuring out that he's done has made him awesome. He cannot pass that on to you. So with my students, I tell them, as much as possible, this is the way that I figured out how to make the Heaven Six function for real life. And I'll try to pass that on to you as much as I can. But at the end of the day, you got to develop it. You got to do it. I can't do it for you. I already did mine. You got to do yours. I'll try to make it as clear as possible, but I can't give you my Heaven Six. You got to go experience that. I can teach you, like, you got to do it up here to protect your head, okay? But if you've never sparred and taken punches to the head and, done challenge matches like I did, you're not going to be at my level. I went through that. I took the bumps and bruises, got clocked in the chin, saw the stars. I mean, I went through that kind of stuff. If you have never done that, even if you're doing the Heaven Six like this, your practical application of the Heaven Six is not the same as mine, So if you've never been in a life and death situation, where you thought your life was on the line and you're basically crapping bricks and you're sweating and you're going, oh my gosh, I'm about to freeze up. I can't breathe. If you've never been in those kinds of situations, even if you know this, it's going to be very difficult for you to pull it off. So, yeah, I hope you guys can understand that. So making it your own and putting in the experience. Have you done the Heaven Six with a knife? How many different knives? Have you done it with a machete? Have you done it empty hand? Have you done it hitting a tire? Have you done it hitting a sofa? Have you done it hitting another person? All these things. Have you done it hitting a marble pillar, a banana tree? I've done all of those things and more, and those are the things that have made my Heaven Six more and more realistic. Have you done it in the rain? Have you done it on uneven terrain? Have you done it while you're running? Have you done it while you're exhausted and tired? While another person is attacking you with the same form. So you gotta match them and defend them perfectly. And if you don't, you're gonna get clocked with the speed and intensity they're coming at you. And one hit can make your eyeball pop out of your head. That's the kind of adrenaline rush and experiences that make your Heaven Six better than just from watching my video. So, once again, I'm coming back to, you know, it's part of the path. Okay. So if it's part of the path, then learning it and having a ton of mistakes and doing it not well and all that, that's okay. That's fine. That's normal. And then from there you develop it. And from there you start, tackling your mistakes and your bad habits, and you start fixing them, and you start getting better and better and better. But if someone who's up here looks at you, you're making a ton of mistakes. And you look at some and if you look at someone that's lower than you, skill wise, they're making a ton of mistakes. But it's not necessarily who's right or wrong. It's part of the process to keep fixing and making those better and better and better. So it's not, you can't just judge the person and go, you're wrong, and that's it. You got to let them develop. You got to let them grow. And fixing their mistake is part of their quest. So let them go on their quest, not just, you're wrong, get out of here, your martial arts stinks. It's not like that. It's like, keep working on it, keep developing it. That's the way it should be. And even if you're up here, you keep working on it and you keep developing it, and you keep polishing what you got. And that is, the proper path. So, you know, people are very judgmental, and they're, I think, a little too fast to judge on others. So if I see somebody and they're like, am I doing it right? And I'm like, it's who are you asking? You're asking me, or are you asking someone who's done it longer than I have, or you're asking someone that's way better, or are you asking someone that's at your level, or um, so that's not really the proper question to ask. Am I doing it right? It's more so, um, just keep going, and I'm watching over you. If you're my student, I'm watching over you. Just keep doing it, and I will point out things that you should be working on right now. So it's not necessarily about right or wrong. Like I said, from my point of view, there's probably tons wrong. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. Does that make sense? At your level, I mean, there's things that you can't fix yet. You're not ready for. So things you're not going to understand. So then it's just keep going. And another thing is, everybody's different. So I've done it for 25 years, but there might be someone who's done it only for 5 years, and their skill is better than mine. It depends. And even within Filipino martial arts, there's a ton of stuff. So I like knives. I'm the knife guy, but there might be someone else who's really, really good at something else, at footwork, or an extra long stick, or a super small palm stick. There's all kinds of stuff. So even though we maybe have been doing it for about the same amount of time, I could still learn from them. They could still learn from me, because our specialties are different. Or maybe our material is different, even though it's in the same area. They might also do knife, but what we teach and what we specialize in within the knife could be different. So, it's good to just share and help each other grow. That's what it should be. Not to say, oh, you're wrong. The only time you should really say you're wrong is if they're lying, like totally lying, like they're like, I've been in 10 knife fights, and my stuff works and everybody else is wrong, and it's like, you've been in 10 knife fights, okay, what were the quality of those knife fights? Why did you even get into a knife fight? Or someone there's got to be some exaggeration there, or someone who's like, yeah, I've been in 100 knife fights. It's like, okay, I think you're a total liar. Even if you're a soldier, I don't think that pops up that often. And if it does, you guys must be the dumbest soldiers on the planet, because when everyone else is fighting with firearms, you're fighting with knives. there's something wrong there, you know. Um, there must be a spectacular reason for you to be doing that. And there might be. You never know. But, you know, a red flag comes up right away. So, you know, when a person is lying, then there's problems. Okay. Lying about lineage, lying about all this other stuff and trying to overcompensate, you know, trying to sell their stuff, trying to make it sound like it's better than everyone else's, you know, insecurities and those are the areas where I'd say, you know, it's really there is a wrong or a right, okay? But as far as just honestly practicing your skill, you know, just keep going, you know. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people, you know, we're training and you start to get a big head and you start to going, I figured it out. No one else has this, you know. We got to combat that all the time. And especially those that solo train, it's so easy to get lost in your own mind. It's so easy to get lost in your own head and think that you're phenomenal and think that you're 10 times better than you really are. So you got to be careful of that. I have to battle that all the time, you know, and bring yourself back down to earth and just keep working on what you're doing. Keep practicing, keep keep honing it, you know, and then if you find some stuff that you think is good, share it, but don't say it's the best. Okay? So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing and take care, folks.